What's up, Rebels fans? Andi Gutierrez changing things up after a long season of walking around cubicles describing Star Wars Rebels episodes to you. This week, Thrawn won the day and sent the Rebels packing, and now I'm here to take you behind the scenes on the season finale. This is Rebels Recon. Discovering the rebel base on Adalon, Thrawn unleashes a massive attack on Phoenix Squadron.
I'm not accepting surrenders at this time. I want you to know failure.
Seeking help, Kanan visits Bendu, but is rejected when Bendu turns into a storm, destroying everything in his path. With a last-minute assist from Sabine, the rebels escape the clutches of Thrawn, but not before Bendu can deliver some parting advice.
I see your defeat, like many arms surrounding you in a cold embrace.
In this week's episode, we saw Thrawn deliver a crushing blow to the rebellion. I sat down with the crew to talk about the challenges of writing a character like Thrawn, bringing the Death Troopers into Rebels, the inner workings of the Bendu, and that epic space battle. Check it out. Bendu is sort of the star of these episodes, but he leaves fans with more questions than answers. Are there any other additional nuggets of insight that you can share about this mysterious character?
I think the wonderful thing about Bendu is that he doesn't represent a point of view between dark and light. He just exists. The best part about that is he's able to comment on the very nature of existence without feeling like he is in defense of any particular side. These are all human intentions and human goals, and Bendu does not represent that. He represents something that is immaterial and also bigger than all of us. And I think it's important to keep that perspective on the drama that's unfolding.
Ultimately, I've always thought Bendu's goal is to sleep, and he keeps getting woken up and then he has to deal with it. He has a large range of emotions and he's been around a very long time. So things that seem like a problem to all these people, to Bendu, he's like, I don't even want you to explain it to me. I don't care. But you need a character that kind of is a bit beyond the characters that you have, that knows vastly more, but that is not going to solve their problems, that's going to push them in the right way. And Bendu does it for all of them, including Thrawn.
We see Bendu take on his elemental form in 0 Hour. How did your crew go about creating this new manifestation of the Force?
Developing how he turns into a storm, that would be the easy part. The hard part is actually selling him as a storm. Dave showed me a picture he took driving to work one day of the sun breaking through the clouds, and you see these bright, somewhat organic shapes that almost look like eyes, and he's like, that's Bendu.
Because Bendu is very much a sort of throwback to 80s puppeteering in general, the decision was made that whatever that effect would ultimately be would have that sort of retro cloud tank, like Ghostbusters, Poltergeist, Close Encounters, big volumes of ink in a fish tank kind of feel.
That was probably one of the biggest and hardest things I think we've done so far, of combining animation and effects, and it's not something you usually see in a TV show, but it looks awesome in the end.
I fell back onto the method that I've been doing throughout the show from the very beginning, which is painting it and making the painting come to life. Basically just sitting in my office and painting McQuarrie-style clouds and bringing them to life.
The finale is the culmination of all of Thrawn's plans this season. Is there an additional challenge to writing such an intellectual character like Thrawn, especially for a show with a younger audience?
I don't really think about it like, will the kids understand that? Because I always know the kids will understand the intent anyway. If they don't understand exactly what Thrawn is saying, they'll understand his intention because Lars' performance gives it to you.
I never think of Star Wars as a show for kids. I think it is a show for everyone. Thrawn, we really tried to adapt right out of the novels. Timothy Zahn's books really create us as a well-rounded, fantastic character. And I think a lot of kids might want to read the books after they've seen these episodes, because Thrawn is a villain that you usually don't get in animation.
I've heard Tim Zahn describe writing Thrawn as basically playing both sides of a chessboard. And we've been trying to do the same thing in the television series, and this is finally sort of the end game of this particular round.
Last year we were introduced to Death Troopers in Rogue One. Since Rogue and Rebels were essentially in production at the same time, what was the process for bringing them into the show?
The movies tend to be a little more elastic than we are. We have to sort of decide pretty early in the process what the episode's going to be. We knew they would be in the movie, and we knew that they would be tall and thin and they would wear a black variant of Stormtrooper armor, but the details hadn't been entirely worked out, so we were working from test shots, and the sort of final details hadn't really been completely nailed down, but it's what we had to go with.
It just made sense when we were all discussing it internally and with Story Group that Thrawn would be a person person that actually gets to have those guys. For us, it served several purposes. It was to show that he was really making his move and he brought in the top elite troopers to support him in this time. Also, it's a great connection to Rogue One. We knew the film would be out by this time and we wanted to start integrating the continuity of everything, which means there will be more of that stuff in season 4.
So the space battle that we see is probably one of the biggest space battles we've seen in the show so far. What's the trick to animating a scene like that?
We do a lot of tricks. We do a lot of cards and things like that to make it so that we don't have to render all the ships and everything. We've kind of found ways to make sure we can get a lot on screen, but not actually tax the machines too terribly for an animated series.
We use as many of the actual practical explosion elements from episode 4, 5, and 6 as possible. So those are all stage elements. So if you have a ship flying across the frame, all you really need to do is take one of those stage elements and just put it on the ship and make it blow up, and then you shine a light in CG on the ship and give it the effect of the illumination of the explosion on the ship, and you buy it.
Bendu predicts Thrawn's fate when he says, "I see your defeat, like many arms surrounding you in a cold embrace." Is there anything more you can say about that?
Thrawn's victories come through his analyzing tactics and deduction. It's completely cerebral. And what Bendu is trying to say here is, I know what's going to happen to you, and the way I know it is through intuition.
I think in the end it's a question of, is that a literal thing? And that's what's important for Thrawn to try and decide, and what's important for the audience to decide. As much as he has a win at the end of this season, he also kind of reveals a weakness, which I don't know if it's apparent or not, but it's definitely there.
Whoa, where are you going? I know you think that you're a big deal because you're in Rogue One and you have your own show, but I mean, let me see this. Really? A Chopper standalone movie? Based on the incredible life of the most amazing droid of all time, Chopper. Really? Kathy will want nothing to do with this. Go back to work or something. The Lucasfilm Story Group's Pablo Hidalgo has been ducking me for weeks, but I am determined to get my microphone in his face one last time to ask him one of your Star Wars Rebels questions. Let's go track him down. Oh, Pablo, come on, man, that's just cold.
He was one day from retirement.
All right, well, we've got one last social question for the season. You ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. Shadow Nightcaster wants to know, who does Obi-Wan refer to when he mentions the Chosen One, Luke or Anakin?
Obi-Wan is mentioning who he believes is ultimately going to defeat the Sith. And if you watch the original trilogy, you know that Obi-Wan's complete belief is in Luke Skywalker. He doesn't believe that Anakin can be redeemed. Anakin's gone as far as he's concerned. But Luke thinks differently, and I think that's what makes Luke, Luke.
All right then. Thanks, Pablo.
See you next season.
Yeah. If you have a question about Zero Hour or any other Rebels questions you want answered, tweet them to @StarWars using the hashtag Rebels Recon, and we'll answer what we can online. And now, since there are no more new episodes this season and I can't show you an exclusive clip, let's take a look back at the cast and crew's favorite moments from Season 3 and what we can look forward to in Season 4. What was your favorite moment from Season 3?
Oh my gosh.
Oh God, there were so many.
Of Season 3, boy.
When Kanan meets Bendu for the first time, that to me was our point of no return to just a magical place that I don't think a lot of people expected we would go to.
I really like the moment when Thrawn loses it just for a second on Slavin. It was just that nice real moment of just like pure anger that we don't get from Thrawn. That was a fun thing to animate for sure.
A couple of designs for the unfortunate Ugnaught that sort of just gets vaporized right in the very first episode. They were fun to do.
I really love the moment in Holocrons of Fate when Ezra decides that he doesn't need the Sith Holocron and instead chooses Kanan's leadership.
That whole Obi-Wan thing and then having Maul and that face-off, that is one of the cooler moments on the show.
I feel like everything is like bigger, better, more incredible this season. But yeah, I gotta go back to the Darksaber episode. Just getting to work with Freddie on that level, which we've never gotten to do before, just the two of us, just Kanan and Sabine, was really special.
I gotta say, my favorite episodes were the Sabine-focused ones. Trial of the Darksaber, that one was incredible. These are so well-established characters that they basically speak with their own voices. And that episode, more than anything, feels true.
When Sabine gets the Darksaber, I like that whole episode. I like how it builds to this emotional moment with her kind of owning who she is, getting her to believably wield wield that sword, and wanting the audience to want that to happen was a goal, and I think we achieved that, and it made the characters so much better. The audience reaction to that episode in particular has been very strong, so just really appreciate that.
What can fans look forward to in season 4?
Everything. It's all good.
There's going to be some epic stuff in season 4. We're trying some new things that we haven't done before, technique-wise and stuff. I think it'll be really cool for the fans to see.
Visually, we're going to continue telling the story through Star Wars eyes. It's beautiful. It's very beautiful.
I'm excited for season 4 because we're going to see a lot of new faces and some very beloved old faces too.
What our characters didn't get closure on was the ability to go free Lothal. That's such a huge thing in Ezra's life, and it's important to our heroes. So that's not forgotten.
You will also get to see what it means for the good guys to keep fighting, that their success is not determined by one big battle. It's about the fact that they, no matter what, win or lose, they get up and they fight again the next day. And I think that's a really important piece to this show and something I think we're all very proud of.
You will see Mon Mothma again, you'll see Saw Gerrera again. You'll get much more of an insight into seeing how that relationship breaks down and breaks apart. It might be possibly when you'd see an X-Wing. I would look forward to Mandalore, going to Mandalore, seeing Mandalore. The longer we've gone with this series, the more it just has occurred to me that Rebels really is in a lot of ways going to finish Clone Wars. It's going to give us an ending for so many things that I didn't get to finish. And that was never intentional, that was never the goal, but it's kind of worked out that way with the way so many characters have come into it. And I think that's a good thing in a way, that they're kind of a partnered series. While not exactly, implicitly connected, there is very much a shared story path for many characters in it, which I think has been good in the end.
Whoa, season 4 is going to be incredible. And because Dave and I are the best of friends, and it's definitely not because I bothered him until he gave it to me, here's a piece of never before seen concept art that he's letting me share with you. Enjoy. Thanks for watching Rebels Recon. We'll be back later this year with a brand new season. But if you need more Rebels info, check out the episode guide for 0 Hour on StarWars.com right now. And for even more Star Wars Rebels, don't miss the Star Wars Rebels panel from Star Wars Celebration this April. Or you could just binge watch all 3 seasons of both shows, Rebels and Recon. Thanks again, and may the Force be with you.